All right, video 2 for motivation. Let's talk a little bit about hunger. Biological needs are based mainly on body tissue needs, like the needs for food, water, air, temperature regulation, and pain avoidance. However, even basic biological needs can be complex because they involve psychological as well as physiological factors. People need food to survive. But food can be much more than survival. It can be a symbol of closeness of family or group of friends. It could be something that you give to a stranger to make them feel welcome. It can also be part of a pleasurable social experience with others. So, one thing we're going to be talking about is obesity. Why do people keep eating junk food when they know that it's bad? So, again, like I said, biological needs are based mainly on body tissue needs, and these are complex. So let's talk about the role of the mouth. The act of chewing and swallowing provides certain sensations that help satisfy the hunger drive. In classic research experiments, tubes were implanted in dogs' throats so the food they swallowed was dropped out of their bodies instead of moving into their stomachs. But nevertheless, the dogs stopped feeding after a brief period. And based on the findings of this, researchers have concluded that chewing and swallowing apparently help reduce feelings of hunger in animals as well as people. The hunger drive is usually satisfied when the body digests food and nutrients in the body enter the bloodstream. But this can take time, and chewing and swallowing help to let the body know that the hunger drive is being satisfied. It was once believed that the growls and contractions or hunger pangs of an empty stomach were cause of hunger, but we did some research on that, and they actually found that the stomach contracts at other times as well. And when a person is hungry, the stomach does contract. Furthermore, people who have surgery to remove their stomachs still experience hunger. So hunger pains felt in the stomach play a role in hunger, but they're not the main factor involved in signaling hunger. So the hypothalamus, let's talk about the hypothalamus. This is really important. The level of sugar in blood and the part of the brain known as the hypothalamus are key influences on feelings of hunger. When people haven't eaten for a while, their blood sugar drops, and information about that sugar level is then sent to the hypothalamus, which is known to be involved in the regulation of body temperature and various other aspects of psychological motivation. They've done a lot of research with some lab animals on the hypothalamus, and what they found is that the lateral hypothalamus, which is a certain side of the hypothalamus, appears to function as what we would call start eating center. And if the LH is electronically stimulated, a rat will begin to eat even if it's just finished a large meal. So you can really cause somebody to gain weight if you stimulate that lateral hypothalamus. The underside of the hypothalamus is called the ventromedial hypothalamus, or the VMH. And that's known as the stop eating center. And when it's electrically stimulated, the rat will stop eating. And when it's destroyed, the rat will continue to eat until it's several times its normal weight. So, many biological factors influence the hunger drive. However, this is only part of the story. In human beings, psychological as well as biological factors affect feeling of hunger. So we usually eat more when we're in the presence of other people than when we were in alone. And learning that certain amounts of food or drink will produce a feeling of well-being and relaxation can cause people to eat and drink when they feel upset. So let's talk a little bit about obesity. More than half of the adults in the U.S. are overweight, and 18%, and that's actually an old statistic, but 18% are obese, meaning that they weigh more than 30% above their recommended weight. And this is a big problem. Obese people encounter more than their fair share of illnesses, including heart disease, stroke, diabetes, gallbladder disease, gout, respiratory problems, and even cancer. It's been estimated that 300,000 people in the U.S. die each year because of health problems related to excess weight and inactivity. So if we're talking about weight control, it's very hard to lose the weight once you become obese, especially because we are kind of a instant gratification society. Fast food is very available, and also the same foods that help control weight, like whole grains, fruits, and vegetables, also tend to be high in vitamins and fiber and low in fats. And these foods can reduce our risk of heart disease, cancer, and illnesses. But dieting and exercise is more effective than dieting alone. And of course, we all know how hard that can be. So why are so many people obese? There seems to be a lot of different factors. It seems to run in families, but it's not necessarily inherited. Heredity does play a major role in obesity. And one of the ways in which heredity may contribute to obesity is that certain people with a particular gene may not receive the biological signal that they've eaten enough to sustain them. So they eat more than they need to. People metabolize food or burn calories at different rates and in accordance with the amount of muscle and fat in their bodies. Men tend to have more muscle and less fat in their bodies than women. Psychological factors also play a role in obesity. When people eat more, they tend under stress or experiencing certain negative emotions. They start to associate food with comfort. And a lot of people have personal circumstances that are going to increase their chances of becoming obese. And again, losing weight is very difficult. Many people who lose the weight struggle not to regain the weight, and more than half of them will actually regain the weight plus some that they actually lost. And that's it. Thanks, guys.